So, Kenzie, if you haven't noticed, we are nearing the age of 30.
Yes. Oh, I've noticed.
And along with that comes the 30-year cycle of nostalgia, which is this idea that every 30 years, and there's a 20-year and a 40-year cycle too, trends and interests from back then come back, and we are starting to see 90s stuff come back. I didn't give this question to you ahead of time, but what types of things are you excited about seeing come back?
Oh my gosh. There are so many things I'm excited about seeing come back. I feel like I've noticed on social media and just being out and about in the real world, I'm seeing a lot of young women dress like limited to.
Mm,
There are so many different outfits and accessories and pieces of outfits that, like you said, you when you're a kid and you look up to older kids and you think, oh, someday I'd like to wear that. I'm seeing those outfits on young women who are younger than me, and it's really amazing. And then when I go back and look at pictures of my childhood, I see the age appropriate version of what they're wearing.
that's funny.
So I think when we were in college, I feel like, so between 2011 and 2015, 16, I dipped into this myself. I still love this vibe. I think it was a lot of the early 90s kind of stuff, more of the kind of grungy flannel sort of thing. And I was not on Tumblr, but that was a really popular aesthetic on Tumblr.
Like fall white girl,
Yes,
that kind of thing.
exactly. The flannel, the Doc Martens, the thigh highs. I feel like that's a lot of stuff that you would have definitely seen in the earlier 90s. Like you said, there are those kind of cutoffs for certain aesthetics and moments within that decade. And I feel like now I'm starting to see more of the late 90s into the 2000s, something you would see Christina Aguilera wear in
Right.
1999. A lot of the crop tops with the embellishments on them. It screams.
Bedazzled.
Yeah, it totally screams later 90s to me. And I think I have to mention this. I think that the jean culture war that seemed to have taken over, at least with women.
But it's funny that you mentioned that, because not that solely because I'm a man, but
Yeah.
that was like completely, I was unaware of that whole thing. But it's like a TikTok thing, isn't it? Or
Yes. So that's where I first heard of it. I kind of noticed I like fashion, I'm not a high fashion kind of person. That's not where my interests lie. I like
you're
that
more like a
everyday.
period piece, and
Yeah.
and by period I mean the 90s.
Yes. That's just it. I definitely, while I appreciate couture and that kind of thing, it doesn't interest me as much. I'm more into what people are wearing every day, and I've definitely noticed. I always notice what other people are wearing just to see what's the moment now. And I've noticed a lot of women are starting to wear straight leg jeans or wide leg jeans, whereas again, when we were in college, it was pretty much default to skinny jeans.
Skinny jeans are out.
Yeah.
That's
Have you
so-
noticed that with your students?
Oh yeah. And here's another thing. So I've noticed Gen Z wears socks with sandals.
Really?
Yes.
That was
And
such a faux pas.
they all say because no one wants to see your dogs, and seeing your dogs is gross. And actually, one of my best friends, a student, commented to her, she was wearing sandals without socks, and they were like, that's disgusting. Which, and again, not to wage a generational war,
No.
but I don't know.
It's funny to see the differences. My whole thing is I love how you have said several times that we're not bashing anybody or positioning ourselves to be better or anything like that. But I think it is really interesting to kind of see how different generations think about different things culturally, because there's usually some kind of motivation behind it. It's like, what? I think I missed the memo that bare feet are, some people like feet, but no one, most
Right.
people don't like looking at feet. But why is that? I wonder where they saw that
I don't
look.
know, but it's like in sandals, you expect
Really?
to see feet. Don't like
Yeah.
you and me, but like to see
Right, look at-
socks.
I'm wearing them now.
That used to be like an Italian stereotype. Like
Really?
Italians used to wear, but anyway, I think it's interesting that we are now the age where we have seen things in style
Yes.
go out of style, and now they come back. And the only knowledge I have, and I want to save more of our fashion talk for your segment.
I could go on and on.
But double denim.
Yeah.
Like we all have that picture of us as kids in the jean jacket and then the jeans. And, and it's coming back. And probably my least favorite thing that should have never ever surfaced from the depths of hell are mullets.
Oh,
very in right now with young little football players and little.
I've noticed that. I have noticed that again, just being out and about. I'm a big people watcher. I'm sure you're picking up on that, just because I like to see what's happening and what's happening. No, but what's happening, and I've noticed that too, and it blows my mind to see things have come in and out, and I wonder what kicked that off, because I feel like I'm thinking, okay, that's more 80s, I would think, right?
I don't know. I feel like it might come from, and I'm only theorizing and speculating here, but like they are very close to our generation, and I feel like maybe it's a rebellion thing, like oh, these are what adults are doing. We don't want to do what adults are doing. Maybe it just comes from that, because we did the same thing. We didn't want to do what our parents were doing necessarily, and that's not to generalize, but
right. Well, that's natural. I feel like you see that in every generation, and especially with the 60s, the whole counterculture.
Yes.
I mean, that's what it was. We're not going to be like our parents. We're not going to do this 9 to 5 thing. We're going to
9 to 5. Okay, sorry.
There's always a moment for Dolly Parton. Yes. Never apologize, please. But yeah, I feel like that's exactly what it is. It's kind of natural to rebel against your parents.
Older generation.
And their values. Yeah, absolutely. So I think for us, mullets always seemed like a laughable, outdated 80s trend. And are they doing it ironically now?
No.
And that's what totally gets me. I'm like, are they doing it kind of as a joke because you're young and they're kind of
very serious about it?
That blows my mind.
Listen to this. And we're going off topic, but that's okay.
Okay, cool.
There is such a thing as TikTok hair. Boys,
you have such a window into TikTok, but I don't, and I love hearing it.
I have such a window into Gen Z in general, because I teach them, and it's so interesting because millennials my age aren't privy to these things in the lingo. I say, and
no, it's true.
I don't mean to lose my cool card, but I'm known as like a cool teacher who says kid things, but like people my age don't know any of these new sayings. Anyway, you're right. I do have a window, and I don't know about girls, but with boys, they go to get their hair cut and they want like TikTok hair, and it's like long, stuck out, kind of spiked, messy, uninhibited. But so, but I think maybe, the more an older generation says like, this is the way we do things, we wear jeans this way, the more a younger generation is going to be like, I don't want to do that.
I completely agree.
So on the topic of the 30-year cycle of nostalgia and things coming back, I want to say that in high school, I see a lot of Nickelodeon 90s cartoon shirts. Yes. And a lot of 90s shirts in general, like with cartoons. However, I am upset to say that a lot of the students, when I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, do you know who these characters are? They tell me no.
Really?
Like one of them had a Nickelodeon shirt with like, real monsters and like, hey Arnold. And I'm like, I go, real monsters. And they go, what? I'm like, real monsters. They're like, what are you saying? I'm like, on your shirt.
The thing that you're wearing, the thing that you bought, the thing you're walking around in.
So that's interesting for me. Like, I'm like, oh my God, my childhood. And then it's like, they have no clue. But that's okay.
I know. I'm right there with you. It's so funny. I feel like probably people in our parents' generation may have had that feeling with certain band t-shirts. I mean, like there's always the joke. Like you're wearing an AC/DC shirt. Name 3 songs.
Right.
But I mean, a part of it is it's not obviously what you're saying. It's not in a gatekeeping way that older people would say to younger people. I actually know a lot of people in my parents' generation who get really excited seeing younger people.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how you are. It is really funny though that they're like I said, they bought something, they're wearing it, and they don't know what it is. I feel like there's a little difference there. But I've seen so many of those shirts just at TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and stuff. It's so neat, and I feel like the illustration styles then were so cool and so distinctive that they probably just kind of look at it as, I mean, not art, like, I mean, anything's art, but yeah, like a vintage kind of art logo sort of thing. I think that's really cool, but very weird if they don't don't know exactly what it is. It's so funny.
Also, I feel old because my high schoolers are wearing like Pierce the Veil and A Day to Remember, all these like emo bands that I listened to when I was a freshman in high school. So now it's like that.
Oh my God.
Like when we were growing up, like 70s and 80s rock and roll. And now I'm like, oh my God, that's my music. What do you guys know about A Day to Remember? Or, Paramore.
Wow.
I've had a couple kids wear a Paramore shirt. I'm like, I have that shirt.
I was there.
Anyway.
I love that.
Yeah.